think I'd put Scottie in the loser category, but that's only because of the standard that we have become accustomed to. This was of a piece with sort of the Scottie we've seen. He's still like an incredible player. He's still the undisputed number one player in the world. His whatever B game, sometimes C game is good enough to be in contention, maybe even the final group of a major. I thought it was a pretty disappointing performance, and we're seeing him a decent amount this year not be able to get across the line. And after 2 years of like, okay, Scottie's here, nobody else, he's going to win. And some of it was like putting today. He missed a lot of putts. He had some sloppy, like 3 putts, like 14, I think. It was a sloppy 3 putt.
That was a bad.
Gassed it through the past
felt
the
like
green,
he
past the hole.
Kind of pushed there for the,
It's like, I got to make a birdie. I'm not leaving this short.
I can't remember who. There was a great quote earlier in the week. I can't remember who it was, and they were like, I think it was before their third round or after their second round. They said, I'm not going to go out there. I think it was Sam Stevens. I'm not going to go out there and try and make a bunch of birdies, because that's usually when you don't make a bunch. Like, usually great rounds just come to you. And to me, I think Scottie had like a little frustration today that those putts weren't dropping. And on 14, he went for it. And he wasn't patient. But this is to your point of what you were saying, where when you keep coming up short, these are the things you start to do. You stop believing in your process.
And it was interesting. Wyndham putted like right before him on a similar line, and his just needed to reach a little. I was like, oh, that's going to be way short. It reached almost to the hole, and it was so interesting. Scottie watched that and then just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not letting it have to. Mm-hmm. And he just hammered it. I thought it was disappointing. Like, I maybe that's too high a standard. I thought it was like, it was right there for him. If he obviously shooting the 67 at Shinnecock Hills is not easy. But that's kind of what we have seen and expect from him. I don't think he's a failure. I don't think he's worse than, he's washed or slipping away. There is sort of, I will say, like an undercurrent of that around the range a little bit. Not that he's washed, but like, oh, are there cracks? Are there people just asking questions kind of stuff? That wasn't a great Sunday performance. And
no,
maybe that's too harsh, but that's
I don't think it was a great tournament.
Frustrating.
I mean, the standard's so high. He finishes fourth, and this is the discourse. He was in the fight. I don't think you can underscore enough how big the finish yesterday was, where, missing the putt on 18, missing another putt on 17, coming down, like those 2 short putts, the 3 putt on 14, the miscalculation on 1. It isn't what we're used to seeing from Scottie. A little bit of carelessness, it feels like, but really what it is he's just not executing at the level that we've grown accustomed to. And I think they talked about this on the telecast some, but he had Ted Scott reading the putts. Mm-hmm. He never looked really comfortable on the greens. He spent a lot of time last night working on his putting, and I think that stemmed from kind of the way he finished. But listen, like that finish on Saturday could have been like the finish at Quail, where it was just like, whoa, like where did or like so many other, like it could have been one of those moments where it was like, yeah, Wyndham's out front, but did you just see what Scottie did? And what it ended up being was he left himself just a little bit too far back, where he had to play an exceptional round of golf today. And he made a couple, the 2 biggest mistakes like that are just so evident is the approach on 1 and the 3 putt on 14. And if even if he just doesn't 3 putt 14, the whole dynamic on the 16th green is different. Or around the 16th green, he has a good lie. He has the ability to get up and down there for birdie. And if at that point, if he hadn't have three putted, he's only 2 back.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he pushed. He just, some of this too is in these tournament settings is having like a feel for what's happening, and knowing when you have to push. And it felt like today he pushed a little bit earlier than he really needed to.
This is going to sound maybe a little harsh. It was weird to see him sort of be a bystander at a major championship. Like he was just...
Well, a lot of people wanted him to step in.
He's
got a lot of experience as a sheriff controlling crowds.
When he plays the final group, he wins, and he was coming from behind. It was just weird to see him be like, kind of in like a Bernd Wiesberger role or something. Just like the guy who ended up in the last. PJ's shaking his head. I'm not suggesting he is that, but he was just there.
I can't believe you compared him to Bernd.
Oh, I'm not comparing him to Bernd Wiesberger's, but. It was, Alex Smalley or what, I don't know, Matty Schmid. He was just there, and because he's Scotty, you kept wanting more and more and more, and he never got there.